We always hear about New England Patriots fans and LA Lakers fans bragging about their team's success and history, all the trophies they've won, and all the great players that played for them. But even though they've had all that success, what about the other teams that don't do so well? The teams that don't have as many trophies or Super Bowls as the Patriots? And supporting a successful team can be really enjoying, but like, never mind. So the first team I have is the Cleveland Browns, and they're probably the first team you had in mind when you saw the title. So they're pretty widely accepted as the worst team in the NFL right now, and after that 0-16 season, it's pretty hard to debate against that. But during that season, their first rounder, Myles Garrett, he got injured and was out for 10 games. And then their quarterback, DeShone Kizer, he threw 22 interceptions, and they led the league in turnovers with 41. They were also last in the league for forced turnovers with only 13. And 6 of the games that they only lost by 1 touchdown. So, but then the next team I have is from the NBA, and they are the LA Clippers. So this choice wasn't as clear-cut as the Browns was, but since 1971, they've only won their division twice in their entire history, and they hadn't won a playoff series until the 05-06 season. And they've never won their Western Conference playoff. They've only won 4 playoff series in their entire history, and in that time they've made the playoffs only 12 times. And I got all those statistics from BleacherReport.com. On top of all of that unsuccessfulness on the court, their owner got forcefully removed because of some racial issues he had with his wife talking to a black guy. So that was pretty negative. And the franchise win record is really low at just .394. So the next team I have is from the MLB, and it's the Tampa Bay Rays. So I don't know much about baseball, but the internet told me the Tampa Bay Rays were the worst team. So, but you can't really blame them because they're one of the newest teams. So you can't really base them off of success. But in their first 10 seasons, 9 of those 10 seasons, they finished dead last in their conference. And since then, they did make it to the World Series in 2008, but they did lose. And then, and yeah, I don't know much about baseball, so that's all I have. But I got all those statistics from sportscheatsheet.com. And the last sport I'm going to talk about is a soccer team based in England, and it's Sunderland Football Club. They're probably in the worst form of any of the top 4 leagues in England right now. The only reason they're not lower than they are right now is because they got pretty lucky in the first few seasons. They should have got moved down to lower leagues, but they ended up avoiding it somehow. And even their coach said it was a miracle that they stayed up. So when they did finally get relegated, though, teams all across the nation celebrated because it should have happened a while ago. And their poor choice in coaching staff led to them getting relegated twice in a row. So they got moved down 2 lower leagues. Right now they're in the 3rd tier in England, and they're in 4th place right now, so they could come back and get back up to the top, but they probably won't. So, in conclusion, supporting your favorite team can be really fun, but it can also really suck, because if they're playing well, then you can brag to all your friends, you can brag all over social media and whatever, but if they're not doing so good, then you could be on the wrong end of all that abuse.